Hi guys, Dan Meyer here, and in this short video we're going to talk about my top baits for catching crappies ice fishing. A lot of people want to know what you catch them on, so in this video we're going to talk about my top baits. So to start with, probably one of my favorite baits to use for crappies and actually most panfish through the ice is a Vmc Tumbler Spoon. I love this spoon. That's what it looks like. Catch a lot of fish on it. Crappies, even bluegills will come up and slam that spoon. Perch. And what I'll do with this spoon is I'll tip it with a waxy. When the fish are pretty aggressive, I'll just put one waxy on one of the hooks. You know, if they're taking a little more coaxing, I'll put 2 or 3 waxies on the different hooks. So I'll start out with just one of the 3 trebles with a waxy, and I'll go from there adding a treble or a waxy to each treble. You know, and sometimes I'll have 1 waxy on each treble, so 3 waxies on the spoon at one time. And this spoon hammers the crappies, perch, bluegills, everything will come up and hit this spoon. Bass, walleyes, the spoon is great, but it's especially great for walleyes. It just has a great flutter. So that's one of my favorite baits. When the fish are fairly aggressive, I also like to use a small jigging Rapala. That's a perch colored one. That's also another great bait. But if the fish are finicky, you know, that you might need to downsize from that bait. And on that, I'll either tip it with a minnow head or a waxy. But most of the time, I don't tip the jigging wrap. But if I do, it's a waxy or a minnow head. Another bait I like to use is a Slab Wrap. Now this is a bigger profile bait, so this only works well when the fish are pretty aggressive. If they're real lethargic, not wanting to move, the Slab Wrap is a tough bait. But when you get to later ice or early ice and the fish are pretty aggressive, wham, they'll come up and hit that Slab Wrap. Now if you're marking a school of fish and you're using that Slab Wrap, that's got a lot of vibration. What I'll do is I will put the bait right above the school, try to get the aggressive ones to come up and hit it. That way you don't scare the whole school. So now, pretty much all the time when the fish are finicky or aggressive, the last 2 baits will work all the time. And this is one of my kind of secret baits. It's really not anymore, but don't tell anybody. That's these Vmc Waxtail Jigs. These things work awesome. I like the pink or chartreuse. These are obviously pink. I got chartreuse on my pole right now. Both of them work real good. The crappies love them. Normally you don't need anything on them. If you want, you can put a waxy on the hook, but normally you don't need anything. Also, a tungsten fly works pretty good too. That's a smaller bait made by VMC, and that I'll tip with a waxy. And then finally, when the fish are most finicky, just a tungsten jig tipped with a waxworm. That works all the time, and that's a top producer too. And actually this winter, a tungsten jig tipped with a waxy has greatly outperformed a jig tipped with a minnow. And I always like to use tungsten jigs because they fall so much faster. And if you're fishing shallow water, it's not as important. But when you're fishing deep water, you need a bait that's going to get down to that school fast. Because a lot of times, even if a school's not there, there's just one fish, you'll mark it. If you don't get a bait down there pretty quick, he's moved on because the fish are swimming around. So you got to have a bait that gets down there quick. That's the tungsten jig. So these baits have worked awesome for me. Use them, you'll catch more fish. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, hit the like button. Also, if this is your first time here, I'd love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do videos just like this to help you catch more and bigger fish. Also, I take my GoPro with me on a lot of my fishing trips so you can see what I'm doing to catch fish. So like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.